Check the mic, we're going live. Stories told, they rise and dive. Topics fresh with every spin. You won't guess what's coming in. Every week a new surprise. Minds awake, never lies. Conversations bold and free. Tune in now, just wait and see. This podcast is uncalled for. Catch us here, there's so much more. Laughs and tales you can't ignore. A journey that will leave you floored. In the night or in the day, just press play, we're on our way. Voices sharp, opinions bright, talking through the day.
Hello everybody, welcome to the podcast. I have a terrific guest with me today. Go ahead and introduce yourself, please.
Hello, my name is Stacy Walsh. I'm a local author here in Kansas City.
Yep, and Stacy, I found at a site for podcasters called Matchmaker.fm, which connects podcasts with guests and vice versa. I'm seeing that you are mostly a horror writer.
Horror, yeah, psychological thrillers and horror. I try to have some mystery component in all of my books. So most of them have at least a small amount of mystery. To basically, that's the whodunit is my latest book, Shiny Happy Psycho, is definitely horror with mystery, a whodunit.
Yeah, I have your website now. It's authorstacywalsh.com.
Yes, correct.
And I'll include that in the show notes.
Thank you.
For people to check out. So we have Shiny Happy Psycho. I'm thinking the REM song. There. So.
And that may have been where that came from. I asked my whole family, we all love horror. So I tried to kind of get some ideas from them. We all kind of came up with some different titles for this last book. And I did a poll on Facebook, and that's essentially everybody loved that title. So I was like, I'm going with that one.
We also have Calm Down, Dear.
Yes, yeah. That one I came up with. That just kind of popped into my head when the idea for the story got into my head. It's because that story in particular is basically about an abusive relationship, but I swapped the gender roles. So all of the chapter headings are like triggering verses. For women, if somebody tells them to calm down, we typically get a little triggered. So every title heading in that book, every chapter heading, is a verse sort of dedicated to that sort of thing.
Then we have Soil.
That was the first book I ever wrote. It was the second one actually traditionally published. Calm Down Dear got picked up first, and then they went ahead and grabbed Soil too. And that one was inspired by my childhood home. I lived in a house when I was growing up that we felt like a lot of strange things happened. So we always called it our haunted house, like the haunted house we used to live in and we moved. And I used some of the things, nothing like what I wrote about in Soil what happened in the house. Be very clear on that, because that one ends with a very tragic thing happening. Nothing like that happened, but I did put a little tidbits of like hearing music play. We all had that happen in this childhood home. We ended up with snakes in our vent at one point, which was very odd. That one in the book. So that one was inspired by that, and that one was really fun to write because I got to do little backstories for the house within the story. So it's almost like I got to write little short stories to incorporate into the full story, which was really fun.
Very cool. And the haunted house. I can't talk today. The haunted house angle. That's interesting because I'm a UMKC grad, and we have famously a haunted house on campus.
Oh, really?
The Epperson House, yeah.
Okay, I didn't know that. So the Epperson House at UMKC is known to be haunted. Okay, I'll have to look that up.
And then the last book we have on your site is Three-Way.
Yeah, that one gets misunderstood. The title's supposed to...
Quite suggestive.
Yeah, it sounds suggestive. I go to a lot of book events around Kansas City, and there is, a multitude of genre authors there, and I am the least smut I could be. I have almost zero smut in my books, And so when people come to my table, you know, the psychological thriller horror author, they're like, what is this about? I'm like, okay, I did that on purpose because I wanted people to like see it and be like, what? But that book is actually more, it's almost like my most family drama. It doesn't have a lot of horror elements. It doesn't really even have a lot of mystery elements. It's about an incident that happened in the 90s to 3 different kids and how they all viewed that incident through their lives,
Right.
and the formative years leading up to the incident. So it's basically a story in 3 parts.
Yeah, so basically told from 3 different points of view. So,
Exactly.
all right, so that's interesting. How'd you get into writing in the first place?
So as a child growing up, I always wrote poetry. That was sort of my escape to, you know, to just go write out my feelings in a poem. I loved doing that. I had my grandpa actually wrote poetry, which was odd. He was a you know, kind of a rough farmer sharecropper guy, and so then to hear that he had these heartfelt poems that he would write was really interesting, and I was inspired by that. And after his death, sometime in the 80s, I was inspired to write my first poem, and I remember showing it to my family, and they all loved it. So years went on. I did get some poetry published. I would not be able to tell you where. So I was a teenager, and I was like, oh, thanks, and I don't know where that went. But you know, the time went on. I went to school. I became a nurse. I had children. I always, in the back of my head, was like, I wish I could write a novel. I wish I could. And I stopped and started probably 1,000 times.
Right.
You know, got an idea, wrote part of it down, and then we're like, no, so I have something else that's going on. I have to do this. And then it got to the point where my kids were old enough. They were much more self-sufficient. I had quit my nursing career to stay home with them growing up, and nursing in particular is really hard to get back into. So I was like, well, now what? And I sat down and wrote Soil, and then went from there.
So nursing, how hard a job is that really? I know there's a lot of qualifications that go into doing that. And shout out to all the nurses who took care of me and take care of everyone.
Absolutely, yeah. It is. From what I understand, I think it's one of the hardest degrees to get. We started when I was in my class in I'm going to age myself. I graduated in 1999, so I started in 1997. I graduated my nursing program in 1999. We started with maybe 50 kids in my program and ended with maybe 30. It's a kind of cutthroat to get through the degree. And the instructors are up front and will tell you that. Like, most of you are going to drop out. If any of you are married, most of you are going to end up divorced. It's a very hard program to get through. And it's a challenging job. I worked with pediatrics mostly, and I loved that. But it's hard to see sometimes. It's hard to be there every day. And the demands put on nurses are just incredible. Like, I switched several jobs due to the demand being so outrageous. It was like, I don't feel safe doing this. You know, the patient ratio, and I think that's just getting worse. And it is a profession that once you're out, you can go back, but it's difficult to get back in. Yeah.
So have you thought about writing any stories about nursing?
I never have. I have a lot of stories in nursing. I have a lot of crazy stories. I did home care for a while. I worked in the neonatal ICU. I worked for the government for a while. So I have tons of stories, but it's never been anything that's inspired a book. So yeah.
That's interesting. Because my life experience is that's the basis of the podcast, really.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Worked in security, worked in a warehouse, ran for office a couple of times, have been a filmmaker. Oh, that's a good question. Have any, Kansas City does have a, shall I say, reputation for being horror-centric film scene. Yeah. Have any local filmmakers approached you about adapting their?
They haven't. It would be a blast if they did.
All right. So any filmmakers out there need film ideas for your horror movies, yes. Talk to Stacy.
Absolutely, yeah. In particular, Shiny Happy Psycho. I actually, after I wrote that book and published it, I dreamt about it like about how the characters would look in a movie, and like, and I think it'd make a great one.
Yeah.
It would be very 1990s-esque horror film type thing.
Cool. So, like something like Scream, or because I was 90s.
90s, yeah. It was definitely inspiration based on Scream is one of my favorite horror movies of all time. So that kind of inspired me. And I didn't take a lot of components from that movie because it is a whodunit, and it does start in high school and then end later. But I still feel like it's completely original, but it was just that sort of atmosphere, that 90s atmosphere of something happening and it ended up being lore that gets passed down through the high school. The murders that start the story happen on campus grounds, and so then as you go through the book and it switches timeline to more present day, that story is now a urban legend kind of thing. So that was more where the Scream idea came, that it being part of that inspiration because of the Scream lore that goes through all the movies.
Sure. So just as a thought exercise, who would be the ideal cast for for this movie?
Yeah, I don't know. So some of the characters within the book, they have the time frame goes from 1993 to 2023, I think, or 24. Now I can't remember. I should have brought a copy of it.
So that would be, for my reference, it'd be all of high school and all of college for me.
Right, yes. And then like almost into your adult lives. And so in my head, I'm like, you'd have to have somebody that could really pull off looking like a high school student and an adult at the same time. When I imagined a lot of the characters, I did have an idea of how they looked in my head. And I've gotten it. They're pretty stereotypical characters. Like there's a lot of, you've got two cheerleaders, kind of have the smart girl, and then you have more of the intellectual boy, and then the jock. So these are the 5 main characters that are called the Rockaway 5 that are a flick in the 1990s. So in my head, I have pictures of what they look like, but I can't think of any actor that I know.
That's okay. I can't think of any current actors that would fit the description.
Right, yeah.
But for the time, probably.
Yeah, I'm sure. Like, I know Kansas City has a ton of aspiring actors. I'm like,
a lot of them have been on my podcast.
Have they? I was like, several of them would probably fit the bill.
If this were to be a locally produced independent film, I certainly know the resources to approach, the Independent Filmmakers Coalition.
Yeah.
Great place to get started.
It would be very fun. We went to, I don't know if Kansas City is complete. Well, they probably are, but I just did a vendor event at Nightmare in the Ozarks. Have you heard? It's an indie film festival down in Eureka.
Hadn't been to that one. But,
yeah, it may be kind of newer. Like I hadn't heard of it either, but so Eureka Springs, Arkansas, the weekend before Halloween has a giant zombie parade every year, and so to kick off that parade lately, this one person has been putting on an indie film festival, and we got to go this year because I was a vendor just at the book fair part.
Right.
But my sons went with me, and so they got to see all these indie films that were coming out, but they're from all over. But I think Kansas City had one there. So.
All right. You wouldn't happen to remember the filmmaker, would you? Or
no, I think the only reason I know is because I'm familiar with the lead actress, but it was Soupy Happy Fun Clown.
I'm sorry.
Super Happy Fun Clown, I think is what it was.
Super Happy Fun Clown.
Yeah.
Let me look at
that. Was at the festival. I didn't get to see it because it played on Thursday, and I didn't get there till Friday.
Super Happy
Fun Clown.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure that was through Kansas City.
All right, so let's got the IMDb here, 2025 movie. To escape a life of Patrick Ray, who is a friend of mine.
Oh, okay. Yes.
Is the director. I know Jennifer Seward.
Yes, I know her too.
Yeah. I also have I'm also an acquaintance of her ex-husband, Davis
Oh,
DeRock.
okay. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yep. Let's see. Matt McCann. I know that name. He ran for Kansas House back in 2016. Same time I was running for Kansas Senate.
Okay.
Friend of the podcast, Jason Turner.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So they were there. I know that they had a movie there. I was actually bummed to miss it. It was one I wanted to see, and I got there too late.
Yeah. Patrick is actually based in Lawrence for the most part.
Oh, okay.
It comes to KC from time to time. But, I know the guys.
Yeah, it's funny.
Yeah.
Small world.
Yeah, it really is. And Patrick, if you happen to be listening, I'd love to have you on the podcast at some point. Because that would be an interesting interview.
Yeah.
So I assume you have still more ideas that you'd like to.
Yes, I do. I have a book that is nearly complete now, called Hollow. It's sort of similar to Shiny Happy Psycho in that it's more 80s horror-esque inspired. So it's to do with a camp in the Ozark Mountains where murders happen, a la Friday the 13th, but it's not anything like those movies either. So just the inspiration, I was like, camp would be fun. And actually, I had some friends that told me about this abandoned camp that you can find at Swope Parkway if you walk through the trail.
Okay, in Swope Park,
Yeah. And so me and my family went through a walk there, and we saw some of the old foundations. The structures are gone. But that was also an inspiration for it. So it started as a standalone book. I wrote the whole thing. It takes place at a fictional camp called Camp Blackbird Hollow. And it morphed into a trilogy in my mind. And so now I have an outline for 2 more books. So the first one will be Hollow. I don't know when it'll come out. I'm in the middle of editing it right now, and then I'll probably send it to my publisher soon, which I've already clarified that my publisher is totally fine with going ahead and publishing the first book, even though I don't have the other 2 complete.
Yeah.
But I have an outline for them, and I know what essentially will be going on through them. So.
Well, George R.R. Martin has certainly set that precedence. With the Song of Ice and Fire books, he keeps talking about finishing them up.
Yeah.
But to my knowledge, he's still working on that.
Right, yeah.
He ain't getting old. He ain't getting younger.
You got to get done. I'm hoping, because I have outlines for the second book, which will be a sequel, and then I have an outline for the third book, which will be a prequel of how the camp even originated. And I have enough of it written out that I feel like it's going to come pretty easy to me. When I first start a book and I don't know the characters, that's the harder part, is like envisioning them, getting the background, understanding their motivations, and kind of hashing, like rounding them out to a 3D version instead of flat.
Right.
So because I know these characters, I feel like it's just going to come real
right.
easy. Yeah.
Right. And I will agree. I've tried writing myself, and it's hard.
It is hard. Yeah. It is. It's one of those there's a part of me that loves it. Like, I love when I have a great day of writing and I get like a really good several pages, and then I go back to it 2 days later and I'm like, who wrote this filth? So there's a lot of imposter syndrome, a ton of self-doubt, self-criticism, rejection, and it's just, you just have to develop really thick skin and then keep going and be nicer to yourself. Not that I'm good at that. I still internally will be like, this is awful. And then I get it to, you have to, the editing part I think is my least favorite. I love coming up with the story and I love writing it. And then I get to the editing part and I'm like, oh my gosh. Like, it's just, you have to read it over and over and over. And you just want every single chapter to really be shiny. And it's hard.
Yeah. And to be fair, most of my writing has been screenwriting.
Yeah, and I wouldn't even have the first clue on how to do that.
It's a difference. It is a similar idea to trying to write a book, but definitely different, because you're writing for actors to read and recite your lines, follow your directions, and go from there.
I would imagine that would be very difficult. I even, before I wrote Soil, I looked into, because when you're creative, like I'm assuming the same thing, you just have these stories running in your head, and I'm like, how do I get these out on paper? Like, is it a book? Could it do a screenplay? So I looked into screenplay, and I was like, I can't do that. I'm gonna go book.
All right, good deal. All right. So, any closing thoughts on?
Yeah. No, I would love to connect with more people in the Kansas City area that like to read mysteries and horror, and there's a few communities within Kansas City that are great for authors. If anybody's out there trying to be an up-and-coming author, the indie boom is happening right now, and it's a great time to get started on it.
Yeah.
If you're thinking about it,
Yeah.
Now's the time.
And I'll go and pitch a group I personally am not involved with, but I know of, the Casey Screenwriters Group.
Yes.
And the only reason I haven't been involved with them is they traditionally met at the same time as the Independent Filmmakers Coalition. But they've it sounds like they've been a little more cooperative, shall I say?
Yeah, that's awesome.
So,
yeah, now's the time for people to start getting creative and having stuff come from different sources.
All right. Well, Stacy, thank you for being on the podcast.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yep. It's one more time before I close it up. AuthorStacyWalsh.com. I will leave that in the show notes for y'all to check out. And thank y'all for listening. And we will talk to you next time. This podcast is Uncalled For, is hosted, produced, and edited by myself, Mike Chernovsky. Our opening music is this podcast is Uncalled For theme, created at suno.com, suno.com. Our outro music for this episode is Glow Together, also created at suno.com. Special shout out to Love Coffee in Lee Summit, Missouri for allowing us to record this episode. And I did check the IMDb for that movie. Friend of the podcast, Jessica Whitfield, is also in that movie, so another reason to go check it out.
Please support the podcast and purchase our exclusive Uncalled For merchandise. T-shirts, sweatshirts, mugs, stickers, and so much more. Go to www.cafepress.com/uncalledforpod. Thank you so much for listening. We will see you next time.